Hi, fourth graders. Happy Monday. So we are actually going to switch into social studies now. We've gone through every science topic that's in our fourth grade curriculum. So we're going to take the rest of the year to dive into some social studies. So the first unit we're going to be working on is all about the government. So we're going to start with learning about the three branches of the federal government, and federal means our country, not on the state level, but we're talking about our country level, so at the United States level. Okay, so here's some vocab for you. A democracy is a type of government where the public has a vote and representation. Checks and balances are how we split up power between different government groups. I'll explain that more throughout this slideshow, but basically we don't want one person to have so much power in our government. So we split up the power and we have different parts check on each other to make sure that they're doing their job. A cabinet is a group of people that is nominated by the president, and they help him make decisions, they give him advice. And federal, again, is related to the country's government, not state. So because we have democracy in our country, we have a system of checks and balances. And this works between the three different branches of government. So we're going to start by talking about the executive branch. And you'll know this as the people in the White House. So the head of the executive branch is the president. He or she must be at least 35 years old. And they're also called commander-in-chief. And this is because they're in charge of our armed forces. So the Army, the Navy, the president is in charge of all that. We also have the vice president and the rest of the cabinet. So there are actually 15 different departments that make up the cabinet. Two examples of those are the Department of Defense, and they're in charge of the armed forces area. And the Department of Treasury is in charge of money. But there's departments for all different types of things in our country, like education, public health. There's really a department for anything the government would be associated with. The second branch is the legislative, and this is made up of our two houses of Congress. So we have our House of Representatives and we have the Senate, and both of these are voted by different states, and they represent the people from that area. And this branch passes our country's laws, and they make sure that they follow the Constitution. And the Constitution is a document, and this is a picture of it. It was created in 1787 when we left English power and we became our own country. So we became free of the British, and then we had to make our own set of rules because we were an independent nation. So the Constitution is that document. And the last branch is the judicial branch, and this is made up of the Supreme Court and other federal courts. The Supreme Court, that word supreme means like highest, most power. So the Supreme Court is the highest court in our country. It's the top of the courts. You can't go any higher than the Supreme Court. And the Chief Justice is in charge of that court along with all the other judges that sit on it. And the judicial branch's responsibility is also to make sure that we are following the Constitution. So everything comes down to, what does the Constitution say, and are we following those rules? So this is a little diagram to show you those checks and balances and exactly how these different branches check on each other. So for example, the legislative branch checks on the executive branch. They can override a veto. We'll talk more about that. They can impeach people, which means say that they did something against the law. So every single branch is checking on another branch and also being checked on by those branches to make sure that everyone is doing their job correctly. Okay, your questions today. So again, remember to use the slides in this video to answer the questions below. Do not guess, go back and find the answers. All of the answers are here. You just have to find them. Number 1, what is a democracy? Number 2, which term splits up power among the government so that one person doesn't have all the power? 3, who is not a part of the executive branch? 4, why is the president also called commander-in-chief? 5, the legislative branch is made up of blank houses. 6, what document must our country's laws follow? 7, what is the highest court in our country? And 8, which branch of government is made up of judges and courts? I hope you all have a wonderful Monday, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye, Adams.